Welcome to another edition of Bleav in Lions, brought to you by FanDuel, alongside the star of the show, former Lions All-Pro safety and a member of the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame, Glover Quinn. I am Trevor Thompson, and Glover and I are excited about our guest today. 18 years in the trenches in the NFL. Number 6 overall pick by the Lions back in 1985, 7 Pro Bowls, 4-time All-Pro. A member of the Lions Hall of Fame, a member of the University of Florida Athletic Hall of Fame, and a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. The legendary Lomas Brown joins us now. And one thing I've learned in all my years in the business is when you get two of the all-time greats of a franchise in one place together, you get out of the way and let them do their thing. So, Glover, I'm going to turn this over to you right now, and you have the first crack at Lomas and what you want to talk about as far as the Lions. We'll talk about the upcoming final preseason game, Jared Goff and the O-line going forward, and what he thinks of the NFC North. Those are things on my radar. But what have you got, Guy? Take it away.
Man, first of all, I just want to say shout out to my guy Lomas, man. Lomas was a great guy to me when I was out there. My time in Detroit, man, has always been just an outstanding human being. I was there when he went into the Lions Ring of Honor, Lions Hall of Fame. That was an amazing time. So glad to have you on the show with us today. And I'm going to jump straight into it because you call the games. And I try not to overreact too much, but the Lions I don't know if they ever really perform great in the preseason. But does this year feel a little different? Like with the games, the way they're playing, does it feel a little different from the previous years when they've also lost in the preseason as well?
Yeah, so it's funny you asked me that, man, and that's Trevor. I call him the YOG. That's the young OG. They be calling me the OG, but that's the young OG right there. So that's the YOG. But yeah, man. But it's funny you asked me that, Glover, because I did. I asked Coach Campbell that the last time we had the production meeting with him. And I asked him, I said, Coach, why aren't you playing you're an old school type of coach. Why aren't you playing the first 2 picks, Tate Ratledge and Tyleik Williams, and he had some good reasons why, saying that he felt like they get better work going against our group of guys, which is, we got a good defense and we got a good offense, so they are going against some of the best. And he also said that we need them, and they he couldn't afford to get them hurt. So, yeah, everything's been different, Glover. The two, the coordinators being there. Is this a different feel in camp, with that, 7 new coaches, everybody trying to get to know, because I'm still trying, I'm there every day. I'm still trying to learn who is who around there. And then as you know, every year you're getting different players in there, whether it's guys that you draft or free agents that you sign. That locker room ain't gonna never be the same. So, all that, if you put it all into, content, you right about what you're saying. It's just a little different this preseason compared.
Right. And, one more thing before Trevor hops in. I get what Dan Campbell is saying from a standpoint of those guys get better work probably in practice going against our guys. But isn't it just something about being in the NFL, getting your first action under the lights? No, it's not 80,000 people at the preseason games. And these guys come from major colleges, so they've played in big stadiums. But it's just different getting like your first NFL action. And these guys' first action is going to come week 1 against a division opponent.
Bruh, I was talking to one of my homeboys last night, and I told my wife that. I said, I couldn't do it. I couldn't, Glover. I couldn't be ready. I just couldn't do it. That couldn't be my first action. Now, I'm going to tell you, in 90, I guess it was 95, in 93, I held out and I missed the first game of the season. So my first action, I mean, I had to sit out the game. I sat out the game and lost the paycheck and came in the second game of the season. And I'll be darned, the third play of the game, the dude that started in front of me, that's my only missed start in Detroit that I missed as a Detroit Lion, was that game because, I came back the second game of the season, and they had this guy, Jack Lynn. He started in front, go in there, and it was Minnesota, Chris Dolman, Hall of Famer Chris Dolman at their place. Third play of the game, he got hurt. I had to go in there. So I'm telling you, man, and I was a vet. So it's a world of difference if you're a rookie, and that's why I asked them. That's why I asked them why. Because, even in a scrimmage against another team, they scripting the plays.
Right.
Sat down with the other coach and they talked about how they're going to script out the plays and we want to see this, that, and that. It ain't no scripting no plays in no preseason game.
Right.
So you're right. I feel the same way. And like I told you, I told my wife, I say, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't have been able to do it because it's too much. I see how it was with that example, with what happened to me when I held out and came in the second game of the season, a regular season game too.
Yeah, it's different.
Lo, you are one of the all-time all durability team. Let's just put it that way. This guy, 263 games played, 251 starts, and you just explained why you missed one of them right there. You had the durability. These guys on the O-line right now working through some durability issues. Certainly losing Frank Ragnow is going to be a big hole for that line going forward. But I'm just interested in your thoughts of that O-line right now. Obviously, Glover's really interested in what the DBs are doing. You're interested in what the O-line is doing. Those are your former positions, but you got to keep Jared Goff clean. I was looking at the odds on FanDuel, and he is plus 1,100 right now to lead the league in passing yards. Since 2023, he's been the league leader. Last year, he was second to Joe Burrow. Not sure what you think of those odds at plus 1,100. He's actually third in the odds to lead the league in passing, but maybe that's because of the O-line. Maybe that's because they thought with these guys missing and trying to integrate some younger guys, he might take a step backward. What are your thoughts on what Jared Goff's going to do behind there and getting him time, keeping him clean, letting him throw the ball as far as that goes, and also establishing that run game?
Well, first of all, the best thing I've heard Jared say is that, he thinks it's a big deal being made out of Ben Johnson being gone and John Morton being there. So Jared seems to, and he's been saying this, that it's not a big adjustment. So I'm glad that he feels comfortable with the change with John Morton coming in and calling the play. So if Jared's comfortable, that makes me feel like our offense, like you say, the question mark would be just the middle of our offensive line. When you're talking about Graham Glasgow going back to the center position and then you putting in, a rookie, at the right guard position, even though he'll be next to Penei Sewell, and then you putting in the inexperience because Christian Mahogany only had 2 starts in the NFL. So you putting basically a young, inexperienced guy over at the left guard position. So that's going to be your question mark. And, everybody knows that you can deal with outside pressure. You can step up in the pocket. That middle pressure, that's what gets quarterbacks kind of fits. And, I just think hopefully they can keep the middle of that pocket good where Jared to have the time to do what he can. But, all the weapons that we have, man, when you talking about Jahmyr Gibbs and you talking about David Montgomery and then you talking about Amon-Ra and Jameson and then you talking about Sam Laporta. I mean, man, we loaded. And then it seemed like Isaac Tesla, the new guy, the rookie wide receiver, seemed like he's going to get a lot of playing time. So right now, they're loaded right now, and they're ready to go on the offensive side of the ball. And, Glover, I think they're going to be ready on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know what you've seen and, what you think with Terrion's progression and how he's going to be. I know you watch them guys back there.
Yeah, my thing is, more so from that point, I want to go back to what you said at first about Jared Goff. And I just feel like it's important. I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting, but I feel like having Ben Johnson for the amount of time that they had Ben Johnson, you develop a comfortability with him. He understands the quarterback. He understands his weapons. So his play calling and comfort level is different. Now you got a new coordinator, and I get it. You got a lot of weapons. You got all this stuff. But has he ever called plays with these guys in a real game? Like you say, in practice, stuff is scripted. You know what defense you're going against. You're going to call the perfect plays. But I just feel like it's important to get, even on the defensive side of the ball, Kevin Shepard, he's calling plays. He's a new play caller with his, like, I just feel like getting 4 or 5 series over the course of the preseason with your guys just to kind of get a feel. Let Jared get a feel of what the huddle's going to sound like with, the play calling coming in. I just feel like that's important, and it just scares me that those guys aren't going to have that until week 1, and it's going to be live bullets.
And to your point, just the only thing really to your point, that's why I started off with saying that Jared said that we're making the big deal out of it. So that's what I took out of it. But you're right. I mean, and think about it. John Morton, he's calling the plays from up top. Ben was on the sideline. So, even that communication between Dan and the coaches, how's that going to go? Say like Dan doesn't like the play. And so does he communicate back up to him what play he wants? I mean, how does that work instead of being right there? So it's a lot of things that we're going to see. And you're right. I mean, you're right. Maybe they've been working that part out during the preseason, but I don't know.
Yeah. And then to go to the defense, the thing that scares me from what I've seen just in the preseason is we all know the starters. We know Terry Young, we know Kirby, we know Brian. Like, we know those guys. We know Aiden. We know Alex. It's the depth that's scaring me, because the chances of all those guys staying completely healthy for 16 games. I think Kirby's still been dealing with some knee stuff and hurting in and out. I'm a little worried about the depth, especially in the secondary. I don't know if I've seen enough to know, like, the backup safeties. If you're going into sub packages, who's going to be that third safety that comes in the game when you put Brian down in the nickel and let him do some of the things that who's going to be that next guy that's coming in as a playmaker for you? That kind of scares me. And then at the corner position, obviously, Terry Young, he's been dealing with hamstring issues throughout camp, injuries. Like, that stuff happens. And so who's going to be that top corner that if Terry Young goes down, who's the guy? And that kind of scares me for sure.
No, you're right about our depth. And the crazy part, Glover, is that think about all the injuries we've had. All our injuries we've had so far have been almost season ending. Like, we lost like 2 offensive linemen, backup offensive linemen. All these players we've lost recently, they've been backups. But like you talking about, then if something happened to one of our guys, who's the backup that's going there? Because all our backups are getting hurt. So it's just been crazy. Isn't that crazy? It was all the starters last year. Now it's all because we lost 2 we put on IR from the O-line. I think we lost one to an injury settlement. We lost another one. I think they put him on IR. And then the guys we brought in for the backup guys, they got hurt. So it's just been crazy, man, what's been going on with the injury bug the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, just from both of you guys, because both of you guys, as I alluded to, very durable players. What do you see as being the difference? Because last year, this team, the injuries, it was just a horror show. Why are these guys missing so much time? And Glover, wasn't that long ago that you played. I don't know what the difference is. You guys each see. You guys stayed on the field and were able to play. What's the difference right now?
I don't know if I can say what the exact difference is, but I will say back when I first got in the league, our off-season program was like 14 weeks, with I think 5 or 6 of those weeks being OTAs, but like the lifting and the strength and conditioning was longer. even when I played, I felt like it was long. Training camp was, we practiced every day. We played. So I don't know. And we played in the preseason. Like we played, 10 plays in the first game. The second game, you're probably getting close to a quarter and a half, depending on how well you're playing. The third game, you're getting, a full first half and possibly coming out after halftime to see. It was like a dress rehearsal. And I don't know if these guys are getting enough strength and conditioning in the offseason. I don't know if they're training their bodies to the max and then, coming out to training camp and pushing themselves to a level that they hadn't been at. And then they're pulling muscles and they're tearing things. I don't know if it's the recovery. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a medical guy. I just know back when I played, I felt like we worked really hard. We practiced every day. We pushed our bodies to kind of get it ready. And I mean, I think for the most part, we were fairly healthy. But these injuries that these guys have been having is I don't know, it's almost unexplainable.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to even throw my ear in there because it was barbaric. So
right, but that's the point. You stayed on the field through all of that.
Hey, it was borderline, man. It was borderline abuse, man. What they did to us back in the day. So it ain't no comparison. I mean, man, we were in training camp for 6 weeks, and you were hitting twice a day in pads. We ain't have 5 days. They get acclimated to put the pads on. You going first day, hitting both days. I mean, it was barbaric. If you look at it now, you know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking, man, look, hey, Glow, hey, if I practice the way they practice now, I probably could have got me about 21, 22.
Right.
I know I could have got me about 3-4 more. You know what I'm saying? The way they practice now. So I'm like you. I don't understand. I just don't understand. Maybe the body ain't conditioned and ready for the contact and delivering the contact that you're going to have to do. I don't know what it is, man. It's crazy. You're right.
Lo, you're talking about having 3 or 4 more seasons, 18 lines on the O-line. That's 18 years on the O-line is unheard of, dude.
Yeah,
unheard of.
I'm telling practice, man. It took it off you, man. Yes, sir.
I want to move on to one more thing here, and we'll get to the final preseason game in a second. But you guys talked about the first game of the season being against the division rival that's starting out in Green Bay. Again, looking at FanDuel, going through some of the odds and some of the things that interest me as far as that goes right now. Plus 340 to have 3 or more teams from the NFC North make the playoffs. That tells you a bit about what they think of this division, that they're saying is 3 teams could make it from this division to make the playoffs. What are your guys' thoughts on that, both of you, on 3 teams or more making it to the playoffs? I know what your thoughts are on Chicago, whether they could make it as well this year, but just take it from there.
I mean, I think 3 teams coming out of that division looks good on paper. I think a lot of it depends on the other divisions as well. When you look at the NFC East, obviously you got Philadelphia. You got the Commanders that came out of that last year. How is Dallas going to be? And then obviously the Giants. I don't think on paper we would say that they're probably going to be a playoff team. Obviously, you never know how the season's going to go. When you look at the South, Tampa has been kind of doing that. Is Atlanta going to take a step? I don't know if you feel like the Saints are going to be there at this moment. In Carolina, they're probably down. So you say you take 2 teams out of that division with, if Atlanta can take a step, but you would probably assume Tampa. And then you go to the West, you got Seattle, you got the Rams, Arizona's maybe. And who else is it? Arizona, Rams. What's the other team in the West? Seattle, Rams, Arizona, and I think you would probably feel like Seattle can probably come out of the West. And so when you look at it, I think on paper you would say between the Lions for sure. I think Chicago and Minnesota could be a toss-up at the moment, depending on how quickly, Chicago can take to Ben and how much does Caleb develop. I think Chicago's always had a pretty good defense, so the offense could catch up. But I think they've made some stellar moves in the offseason. So Chicago is a team that will probably be on my radar. That's a little higher than Minnesota, in my opinion. And then Green Bay, you just never know with those guys. So if there's a division in the North that could have 3 teams, I would take those odds and say it could be the NFC North. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I just think right here, if you just look at, what the Lions have to face just in our division, you were right. I mean, I'm just looking at if Jordan Love, and I know he's kind of dealing with a finger issue right now, but they say he'll be ready. Is he going to take that next step? Because that's what Green Bay is waiting on. That's really, they improved on their defensive side too. So they've always been solid defensively against the Lions, so that should be a challenging game. Like you say, the first game of the season going there. And then you look at, like you say, Minnesota. I think a lot of that depends on Kevin O'Connell. He's a good coach, man. He's a good coach. And, that 3-headed receiving core over there with Jefferson and those guys, man. So I know one of them got to serve a suspension early in the year, but that's going to be a challenge there. And then Brian Flores on the defensive side of the ball, Jared Goff talks about how he always presents a challenge for him. So that's going to be interesting when we play those guys. Plus, they're going to have that revenge factor in their mind. Because remember, we sent them on the road last year, because we beat them for the, basically the chance to get that number 1 seed. And then Chicago, like I say, Ben going to model everything from Detroit. So Ben is setting them up just like a baby Detroit. He gonna model everything and stuff. And I'm telling you, man, the dude is the most creative. I call him the savant because that dude was the most creative. I'm telling you, the plays he designed, Glover, I ain't never seen. I mean, it'll be like 10 moving pieces in that play, man. Think about some of the stuff he did. How you got your 310-pound tackle going in motion, coming back in motion, and then you flip the ball to him. They don't hand it to him. They flip the ball to him. He catch it, and he really supposed to throw the ball. You got your 310-pound tackle, Penei Sewell, going in motion, looking to throw the ball. And I thought it was on 3rd down. And I'm like, who thinks of stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? But Ben, man, I'm telling you, the dude is a genius, man, at calling those plays. So you just never know how things are going to shape up. So that's what I'll just say about what we got right in our division.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. And Lomas, back to your point, too, about the Vikings with Sam Darnold moving on and they going with J.J. McCarthy, a rookie QB. They have the weapons around and they've got those receivers. They've got a running game. They picked up Jordan Mason in the offseason to back up Aaron Jones. They're going to be dangerous, even with a rookie QB back there. And they are my pick to challenge the Lions for top spot in the NFC North. A lot of people like Green Bay, but I'm going to go with the Vikings. So we'll see how it all shakes out. We've got one more preseason game left as far as this preseason goes for the Lions. And Lomas, what do you think we're going to see against the team that drafted Glover Quinn back in 2009 in the 4th round, the Houston Texans? What are we going to see on Saturday at 4:00?
Yeah, again, we'll probably see a little bit more of the offense. I was just hoping, man, Glover, I was hoping that Hendon was going to just take that next step and just take that job, man. I just really wanted to see it, but Kyle Allen seemed like he's going to have that job unless it's going to take a miracle for Hendon to be that second. So their decision on what they're going to do there, if they're going to keep 2, if they're going to keep 3 right there. I wanted to see him do that. So I just think scheme-wise, maybe we see John Morton open it up a little bit more, show a little bit more things with the backup quarterback. I know the star, none of the guys are going to play. So looking for that. And I'm telling you, man, I don't know, would you love it? Because I'm saying Calvin Shepard, he got them linebackers going downhill now. Aaron had them going downhill. but he really got them guys playing downhill. So I don't know if that's an advantage, disadvantage for the guys like you guys in the backfield, but it seemed like they're going to play more downhill this year. So, I guess just looking to see what guys kind of stand out in that. But it really ain't going to be much, like I say, to take from it, because the starters, you don't see any of the guys in the game.
Yeah, I think this last preseason game, if I was a coach and in this situation, I think it's gonna be more so they got the names on the board. Obviously, they know who the starters are gonna be. Like I said, I've been feeling like the depth is where they're trying to figure out who's gonna be the other contributors. And I think the game plan is gonna be, in my opinion, if they're trying to, find guys on the O-line, I think they're going to put those guys in positions to let's see who's going to run block the best. Let's see who's going to pass block the best. I don't think they're going to be so worried about, winning or this or that. More so the competitions that are heated for backup roles. I think they're going to put those guys in positions so they can see. If it's backup corner, let's see who can cover. So we're going to go man to man. We just want to see who's going to play better so we can make a decision, because cut day is coming. We all know that's a gloomy day in the NFL, but it's coming and we have to be able to make decisions. So this is our last opportunity to see these guys perform in a real game, although it's preseason. So, hey, let's call the plays to see. And you're right, the linebackers are coming downhill. I've seen a couple clips of some guys that look like they can go. And so I think that's what it's going to be. I like you said, none of the guys are going to play, so I don't think we're going to see anything spectacular. I don't know if Johnny Moore is going to open it up anymore. And based on what you said, yes, I would have liked for Herndon to take it over. Like, I just be wondering, what does the confidence go from these guys that were major players in college, just doing all this stuff, and then they get to the NFL, and it's like they're scared to play. Like, go make a play. And sometimes I wonder, like, I feel like the quarterback, they need a little arrogancy about themselves. They need that. Like, it's okay to be a good guy, don't get me wrong, but like, you need a little arrogancy.
You want some dog in your guys.
Yeah, like, you need that
before, right? Yeah, some dog. Give me some dog.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if Herndon's done enough in the preseason, at least from what I've saw. I mean, I don't think Kyle's done great, but I mean, he's probably done more than Herndon, so he's going to get that job. And yeah, I don't really know if they're going to keep 3. Probably try to get him on practice squad, but I wish I would have saw more from Herndon for sure.
Yeah.
Cut down day, August 26th. Lomas, any surprises on your radar as far as that goes?
I mean, like I say, the pleasant surprise is Isaac Tesla, man, the receiver. He look like he gonna be nice, man. And he's like 6'4", 212, speed, man. So you got him, J-Mo, kind of Pat, and amon-ra gonna be amon-ra. So I'm excited to see him. I'm excited for Sam Laporta to hopefully come back healthy, because last year was kind of a down year for him, but they got to spread that pill. So, and I'm telling you, Glover, man, that boy Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm just saying, it's
monster.
speed. That speed is just on another. And I'm telling you, I'll never compare nobody with number 20. So there ain't nobody that I say, because I say he's the greatest ever, but everybody say I'm biased because I blocked for 7 of his 10 years. But I know B is the greatest ever and everything. So, but Jahmyr, the thing I see what he do, like B, he used to jump cut. That's how B used to make his cut. So, you go to tackle B and he can just jump out of it. The thing with Jahmyr, he don't have to jump. He could plant and go just as fast as B used to jump cut. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, it's just unbelievable, man. And I'm telling you, man, it just go like that. Like, my wife drives a Tesla, and if you drove an electric car, when you hit it, how them things go. That's how Jahmyr is, man. It's crazy, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy watching it. And like I say, I blocked for the greatest ever. So I ain't never comparing nobody, but that's the one thing I kind of see that I'm like, okay, man, this is just like special right here.
Yeah, he's monster. That's all I'm gonna say. For sure.
It's going to be fun to watch him go, and it was fun to hear you two Lions greats talk Lions football as the preseason comes to a close and we get set for a really tough schedule ahead in the regular season with the Lions. And on this edition of Bleav in Lions, brought to you by FanDuel, it has been an honor to have a great Lomas Brown along with Glover, Quinn, and me. We can't wait to get back with you guys again next time.